The New York Giants get a win. Stunning, shocking, but there's some things that are not so shocking. And one of them is the fact that the thing that I've been complaining about the most, Brian Daboll's finally got something into his skull. My brother told me that I must have been like Cerebro, and I actually planted the thought into his mind. Maybe he woke up this morning and actually realized that he has tight ends and he could use them. Whatever the case may be, Brian woke up from his 5-game stupor or 4-game stupor and decided to throw to the tight end. Where Daniel Bellinger is, I do not know. For some reason, whatever that might be, I don't know what it is, that Daniel Bellinger is never seen on the field except for blocking purposes. So we're going to see what happens going forward. But it was nice to pick up a win today. Again, if any of you wonderful people out there watched the game, you would have seen a graphic that was up on the screen that shows something like how often the Giants utilize their tight end. And it was like 5% or something out of these first 4 games. And then it showed, like, I think for everybody else, it was like 43%. I might have been imagining that number, but that's what it just flashed on the screen. And I was kind of discombobulated and laying on the floor. I had broken sleep. And I was just kind of squinting at it. And I was like, is that what I thought it said? So hopefully in the replay, it'll show up on the screen at the beginning of the game and I can screen capture it so that we can discuss what in the F is wrong with Brian Daboll's, that he does not realize that with all these weapons that he's got, he can relieve the pressure off of Daniel Jones by the quick out patterns. Out patterns are the greatest thing in the world. After that, inside slants. After that, every once in a while, you got that tight end. Shoot him right down the middle of the field when they are focused in on a guy like Neighbors. Why I didn't see the ball go to the Jalen Hyatt today is beyond me to understand. Again, a weapon not being used, a guy who performs, comes there prepared. The coaches speak glowingly of him. He looked great in the mini camps and in the training camps, yet Brian Daboll's won't put him on the field. So here I am again trying to send a message to Brian Daboll's. Hey, moron, utilize all your weapons, okay? Maybe we need to get some video of Coach Coughlin screaming at Tiki Barber, who was actually part of the crew calling the game, about holding the ball up tight to you so that you don't get a fumble. Because once they know that that's something that you can do or that you will have a propensity to do, they're going to come after you, all right? Wake up and let's use some fundamentals here. What I do like is that even though I stay with my original contention, at least for now, I don't think these players are all that crazy about Brian Daboll's. But what they are crazy about are each other, and they're playing for each other. And I'll take it. You know, maybe somewhere towards the end of the season, if we can get a chance at being in a wild card game, which would be beyond my imagination to even imagine that happening, then maybe they might start embracing this guy a little bit, you know? And even then, I would, to some degree, doubt it. Still a fan of Louis Riddick being the GM here, and I would drop Joe Shane so fast and make your head spin. I don't give a shit if they made it to the damn Super Bowl. That's what it would be. That was what it would take for me to back up off of my opinion of Joe Shane, just solely on what happened with Saquon Barkley. You know, that's going to be something that's going to sting for me for the rest of the season. There's no way in this world that you don't realize the leadership that this man offered. He's a captain. He's a good dude. And you let this man go. And the numbers don't match up to what you were doing. Having said that, I'm very happy for the win. We are 2-3 now. There's a number of teams that are pretty decent teams that are 2-3 because this has kind of been an odd start to the season. There's no doubt in my mind that if you had not been the moron that you were and activated your kicker off of the practice squad, you probably would have won the game outright against the Commanders. And certainly if you had been doing some of the play calling that you did today and getting the tight end involved and getting some out patterns and some little throws to the outside, that would have made a difference. Defense, A+. There was so many good plays there. I think there were some flags that probably didn't need to happen that happened. I'm still a little bit confused about this, where you have to be on the line now, that new rule, which seems to be like a free penalty. What can you say about Sexy Dexy and Taco, Big Taco? This dude, those dudes, and everybody, Ojolari, Thibodeau, Brian Burns, and even the D-backs were playing some really good football, and that's what kept them in the game. Otherwise, had they not played as well as that, Gino would have picked us apart with Lockett, with Disley, with Metcalf, who is a beast. If you could have a DK Metcalf on one side and a Neighbors on the other, and utilize some badass pass catching tight ends, you could rip this league apart. And if you got a running game to go with it, forget about it. But at any rate, here we are. Got a little taste of some Jamesons here. So victory shot with all my New York Giant family. Let's go New York Football Giants. Let's keep it going. And let's take a look. All right. So our next game is going to be against the Bengals. And, hey, I don't think the Bengals have looked all that great, but they do have Joe there, and Joe's got a great arm. And if the defense was to wake up, but I could see the Giants winning that game, based on what I saw today and if I have a realization of what kind of plays that could be called. Yeah, I could see that. Okay. And then the Giants versus the Steelers. Again, that's a game that's possible, although what's concerning and why I got the Steelers tonight against the Cowboys is the Cowboys is a weakened product. And I feel that TJ Watt, not TJ, but AJ, is it AJ Watt? Whatever the other Watt brother that's on the Steelers, and with the kind of coaching that they got, I have great faith in Coach Tomlin. I could see them beating up on Dallas tonight. That may not happen. Maybe Dak will get in a rhythm. They'll start eating them up with CD and they utilize the tight ends beautifully, Ferguson and the other guy. I forgot his name. And yeah, then you got the Giants versus the Panthers. That's almost like a must win because they're as pathetic, if not more pathetic, than the Giants are. Then, and this one, I want to mark on my calendar because I guess it's going to be on Thanksgiving or on that weekend of Thanksgiving. The Giants have to beat the Cowboys. All roads for the Giants to the playoffs goes through Dallas and through Philly. And I'll say that 1,000 times as well. Defense getting after it, some good play calling, something inventive, something clever. They actually did a flea flicker in today's game. I liked some of the little extra razzle-dazzle stuff. And oh, by the way, before I get off of here, Tyrone Tracy Jr. was fantastic today. Loved it when he ran to the outside. He had the 29 or 24-yard play, and he took the ball and switched it to the other side and started hauling ass down the field. Fantastic. So I really like that. And Ravens, that's going to be a tough one, but the only NFC team to ever beat the Ravens while Lamar Jackson has been the quarterback is the Giants. So you can put that in your pipe and smoke it. Then they got the Colts. That's going to be tough because I think the Colts defense is pretty good. And then after that, it's the Eagles, then the Commanders. Buccaneers. Actually, I'm looking at this wrong. It's the Bengals next. Then after that, it's the Eagles. Then it's the Steelers. Then it's the Commanders. Then it's the Panthers. Then it's the Bucks. With our great Sterling Shepard playing with the Bucks now, I wouldn't sleep on the Bucks at all. Giants, Cowboys, oh God. Saints, that might be a rough one. And then the Ravens, then the Falcons. And then ending out with the Colts, then the Eagles. And that would be the order. I was kind of looking at it down this way, and it's going back and forth. But in any case, if the Giants can stay and play within some reasonableness, play mistake-free football, man, special teams. The guy they mentioned that the special teams coach came from the Jets, and the Jets have traditionally always had a pretty good special teams. And our special teams for the last 6 years, 7 years has been basically dog shit. With the irony that the reason why they brought Joe Judge here was because he was the special teams ace. He was the guy that was gonna show you how special teams was laid out. And the whole thing was just a pathetic joke. But that's all behind us. What I want to see happen is to get a stack up some wins and give us a hope for getting into the playoffs, even if it's on a wild card position, number one. Number two, short of the Super Bowl, Joe Shane got to go because I have much more faith in Louis Riddick coming in and giving us something that's going to be more of a long-term growth pattern here. It's the kind of long-term growth pattern that you've seen in Dallas, even though it hasn't got them through the playoffs. That's more of mindset and the way they go about things when they get to the playoffs. They've won the East so many times. Philadelphia has won the East. I think their mindset is a little bit better when it comes to playoffs, although they got exposed. Even with a team like the Giants, they went 6-11. We beat them at the end of the year. So a little hope, cross our fingers, and hope that we can stack up some wins now. So the next course of action is the Bengals. And again, I want to shout out to everybody out there. Kid Blue, The Entertainer, Cop Pizzle is one of my favorites. Chuck Knox is one of my favorites. Fist Unit, Chat Sports, Big Blue View, Believe in the Giants with the great Carl Banks and Bob Papa. All those guys. Let's go New York Football Giants. Deuces.